Caleb's rocking the lane still.
All About Bugs Tennessee Pest and Termite Control is all about family too. Our family-owned business has successfully been in operation in Sevierville and surrounding areas for almost a decade. Especially during these times, a pest-free home is necessary for a sustainable, disease-free home or business. Our services include residential, rental, commercial, hotel, motel, cabins, you name it. Free quotes and inspections for new customers, and most of our services are contract-free. Our All About Bugs Tennessee family is devoted to delivering the best possible pest control service with a friendly smile. Contact us at 865-453-5574 today.
If it's bugging you, you should be bugging us.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Monday Night Racing here on the Revo Racing Network for the Coastal Financial Racing Revolution Truck Series. Here tonight at Dover for the second to last race of their inaugural season. We're going to go 175 laps tonight for and forgive me, ladies and gentlemen, for my terrible French pronunciation, but the Jamais Souviens 175, or the I Remember 175. And for those of you that are fans of Alex Berube, you may or may not remember a certain incident that has happened here in the past in the Cup Series on Wednesday nights. But we'll get to that later on in the broadcast. But with me tonight, Justice Murphy, as always, Rob Rader running the wonderful production for everybody to see back at home. And Justice, after the wild finish we saw last week at Talladega, here we are at the Concrete Monster Mile at Dover for what I suspect could be more carnage and chaos.
Yeah, you know, the only thing that could top us seeing the Ricky Bobby special from Talladega Nights, the entire field wrecking, would be if we saw a Joey Logano moment. Maybe a truck flipping for a little bit. Obviously, Joey gets away fine, at least in his own mind. I think he's still a little crazy from that, but, you know, who knows. But, yeah, a little bit of fun here tonight at Dover. Definitely could see some carnage. Interested to see, Trevor. My favorite part of this is when we get to green flag pit stops at Dover. This is a very tight pit entry. If you don't get it just right, that thing that Alex is trying to remind everybody about is exactly what's going to happen to somebody. You will square up those barrels and your night is done.
It's the last thing you want to do, hit those barrels and blow an engine, break a toe link, whatever the case may be, and be out for the race. We're going to 175 laps tonight. One stage brake lap 35, 5 extra sets of tires, no fast repairs. And here's going to be your starting lineup for tonight. Jeremy Burns is going to start on the pole position with Clint Cox in second. Alex Berube will roll off in third with Caleb Gilbert, the points leader, in fourth. Michael Reed will start in fifth with Kevin Orlando in sixth. Frank Hughes will start in seventh with John Fike in eighth. Nick Owls will roll off in ninth, and Grant Thorpe is going to start in 10th.
Yeah, followed by Justin Hughes and William Gay in 11th and 12th. Tay McDonald, Dominic Hughes in row 7. Chris Nail, Jackson McGeorge, row 8. Dylan Picklesheimer, Chris Schaefer in row 9. Travis Gilbert, Kyle Diaz in row 10, Trevor.
And then you're going to have Devin Hudgens, Dustin Adams, the last two trucks to get in on, or I'm sorry, not get in on time, but they're in the starting lineup. We'll see if they actually take the grid. They did not lay down a lap. We'll have to see if we've got 20 trucks tonight or 22 trucks. We'll wait and see as the pace truck is rolling off here tonight, led by Jeremy Burns. And Justice, second to last race of the season, Caleb Gilbert comes in as the points leader over that 03 machine of Clint Cox. Going to be a tight points battle here tonight. And then next week, it's Homestead, Miami to crown our inaugural champion.
Yeah, Clint Cox getting that second place starting position really needs to see if he can figure out a way to kind of drive away from Caleb here in the opening stage. Maybe get a couple more stage points than Caleb. Maybe even get the stage win. And Caleb finish third or fourth. That helps when you're making up the gap, and then you just hope that you can get him on the long run at the end. But yeah, going to be a very, very good battle. Maybe tightens up tonight, and then next week at Homestead will get really fun really quickly. I do know of one driver, Trevor, even if those ones in the back don't actually start on grid. Jackson McGeorge did tell me as I was hopping team chats before the race that he would not grid up. So he did lay a lap down, which is funny, but he did not grid up as they get ready to take the green.
Hey, here we go. Getting ready to go green flag racing for the Jamais Souvion 175 here from Dover. Green flag's in the air. Jeremy Burns, Clint Cox going to rocket down into turn number 1. Berube already under a little bit of pressure from the 91 machine of Michael Reed. Caleb Gilbert falls in line 2 by 2. Burns trying to get clear of the 03 machine as they exit turn number 2. Brand new update for the trucks as well. Brand new aero package and everything for these guys. So everybody's going to have their hands full learning this truck for the first couple of laps. Justice is Clint Cox. Clint Cox looks to the outside on Jeremy Burns out of turn number 4.
Yeah, updated chassis, some new aero with that chassis, and these things got a little more roll in them, Trevor. A little more on the right rear, so we see Alex Berube get real squirrely on that opening lap, trying to keep it underneath of Caleb Gilbert. Manages to clear him, gets third. We see Clint Cox make the pass for Jeremy Burns for the lead there. And the 1 and 2 going to lead his first lap coming across the stripe here. Looks like the majority of the probably top 15, 17 cars here have kind of single filed out.
Yeah, it looks to be single filed out. And for Clint Cox, I mean, last week, Justice, I think we were a bit harsh on the driver of the 03 machine, but I don't think he made a lot of friends last week at Talladega. Now looking to rebound after a rough strategy call kind of took him out of a chance to win that race. And now granted with the chaos in turn 1, still anybody had a shot to win that, but the strategy call for Clint Cox, I think, has to clean up this week and next week if he wants to go run down Caleb Gilbert for that championship.
Yeah, as we see some guys starting to make some moves here in the back. This has got to be a case of a little bit of tire saving from everybody. As we see that 88, I believe that is a Chris Nail. A little bit loose off that corner trying to finish that pass on the 24 Nick Alves. And directly in front of them, we see William Gay and Frank Hughes battling up. William Gay and Dominic Hughes battling. And that ends up sorting itself out. I think a lot of these guys right now, Trevor, just trying to maintain a gap. Get used to what the truck's doing. You know, that update came 2 days after that Talladega race. Not that you would have learned a lot about, you know, any updates during Talladega, because it kind of drives the same no matter what you do to it. But they're just kind of trying to learn right now. It looks like feel it out and see if anything's going to tighten this thing up.
Yeah, first kind of real race on the truck in the new patch, and especially around Dover, kind of one of the harder tracks to get around. Bumpy, eats tires like crazy, so and the trucks are always usually a handful around here, so a good track to kind of break out the new build as Berube gets into the wall at the exit of turn number 4. A couple of other trucks scrape it, and that's something, Justice, I think we're going to see a lot of over the course of the night, is trucks getting tight and getting up into that outside wall out of turn number 4.
Yeah, one of those things I know we're going to do at some point is go on board with one of these guys from the driver's seat, and you really want to do that and see the things that are going on in the entry and exit of these corners. One of those things you don't really know till you're on the track. As you're going down into the corners, you literally go up a hill couple feet at the end of the straightaways, go down into the corner, and then as you're coming up off of the exit on both ends, you go up over a hill again. And the worst one, the more dramatic one, is the exit of 4, where you saw a lot of guys just hit the wall in the previous lap, including Alex Berube. It's very tough to navigate. We're going to see Burns do it here in traffic. It just, that wall sneaks up on you. It's straight up over the hill, and it's very, very tough to battle that truck, and really any vehicle at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Burns' hands there on turn number 4 right here at turn number 2. The little bit of turn to the right to keep that truck going straight. It's a handful out there, and we'll see again here at turn number 4 in traffic in that dirty air. Gets it to the bottom really well, but then up the hill. Really good exit, though. Clint Cox, I think, had to chase his truck a little bit more than Burns. Burns right to the rear bumper. Gonna look to the high side now, build a little bit of momentum, and see if he can get a run here down the back straightaway and have a battle for the lead through 3 and 4. Potentially for the lead. Burns closing, looking to the inside. And here we go. Justice battle for the lead through 3 and 4.
Yeah, dives it off in there, and again, going down that hill, you can kind of get an assist as you want to dive, but you got to get that truck woed up, get around that corner real well, and we see Burns kind of have to fall back there. Didn't get quite the grip he thought that he was going to get. So we see it kind of back off a little bit here now, and Burns realizing, hey, better back off now. We'll make a run here in a minute. But what we see right now is guys trying to search for clean air, Trevor. Kind of going all over the place, starting to see, wherever Clint goes, Burns goes the opposite. And then wherever Burns goes, Alex Berube behind him is going opposite. So you're starting to see a little bit of that. Guys needing clean air, needing to try to figure something out to get these tires cooled off.
Yeah, and Dover, one of those tracks that you don't typically think about as being kind of a multi-lane racetrack, but especially with the trucks, you can run that kind of high line and that bottom line and get away with it and carry enough speed and momentum out. And you're seeing it right here with our race leaders, with Clint going all the way up to the outside, Burns trying to stay at the bottom. You can kind of get away with a middle lane. Wouldn't necessarily call it much of a middle lane, but it gives you options. So like you said, get out of that dirty air, find some clean air on the nose of that truck, get those tires cooled down, and that way they're not screaming at you as this run continues.
Further back in the pack, big wreck there. As a 24, Nick Alves looked like he got a run on the corner exit on the 39 truck of Dominic Hughes. Just couldn't quite keep it off the bumper. Ends up causing a wreck there, and there was somebody else that was spinning before they ever got there. I'm guessing maybe the 9 of Dylan Picklesheimer looked like he was trying to check up and just got kind of run over getting there. So yeah, we see it just in front of these guys. There's Nick and Dominic spinning. Oh yeah, Dylan trying to check up. 22 kind of catches him. Dylan was already loose on his own. So that's going to be a tough end to the race for, I believe, that 39 truck. Maybe a couple others are done for the night here.
Tough break. No fast repair here tonight like we had last week at Talladega. So whatever damage you do have, you're going to be stuck with for the night. You're going to have to get it fixed. And get a look here from Nick Alves, and you just see gets right to the rear bumper of the 39, and that is hard contact. Even for Nick, I didn't see the initial contact with Nick after the 39 recoiled off the wall there. Just that's going to be heavy damage to the nose of the 24 as well.
Yeah, I think if we go back and get a different view of that, that was net code and bad. And we say net code for anybody that's not familiar with iRacing terms. That's when your internet thinks you're going one place and it's not quite where you were actually going. The other person's internet makes a guess, and you don't actually make contact, but the internet thinks you should have. So it initiates it as if you did here. So we're going to try to get a little better view here. I just don't, it didn't look like Nick actually, maybe he did.
There for sure.
He's there, yeah, there for sure. I think the first part of it that got him loose was really, really close on whether or not he made contact, but very tough spot, Trevor. You and I have wrecked each other, both doing that same thing where you just kind of misjudge the guy in front of you's run. You get back on the pedal because you have a good run. They look like they're back on the pedal. They get a little loose, have to lift, and you just can't get out of it in time. You're on their back bumper. Just one of those things that happens, especially at a track like Dover where it's so high speed because of the banking and everything going on that you got to maintain your momentum as much as you can.
As one of those racing incidents, rough break for everybody involved. There were 2 trucks that needed to get required damage fixed. Travis Gilbert in the 22, Dominic Hughes in the 39, both drivers with required damage. I think the one Justice, they kind of got off luckiest. Dylan Picklesheimer, I think, might be relatively okay. Looked like he went in back, rear end first into that incident. The front end of that truck looks pretty good. It looks like they dove onto the rear end of that truck and got it pretty well straightened out too. But he came into that wreck backwards, so might have survived some motor damage in that 9 machine.
Yeah, might have survived some motor damage. Dover is one of the short tracks, though, Trevor, where you gotta have pretty good aero. So we do see that the spoiler on the back a little bit bent up. So may not have a winning truck at this point, but certainly wouldn't keep him from maybe getting up there and battling for a top 10 finish. Just going to be missing a few pounds of aero in the back, a little bit of downforce that he'd like to have, but he'll be okay. Going to be able to continue here and fight for some positions.
See how it goes for Dylan, Nick, and Travis, and all the other guys involved in that wreck. We'll see how they recover through the course of the night. But here we go. First choose of the night as we work our first caution on lap 16, coming to lap 17. For those of you who don't know, you're going to see it right here. Drivers like to go to the inside or the outside of that start finish line where it meets the little the asphalt down there on the bottom. It's going to choose. That's going to allow them to choose where they're going to restart. And for tonight, Justice, the leader, electing to take the outside line, hoping to have that good run and launch off of turn number 4 to propel him down and clear the inside line by the time they get to turn number 1.
Yeah, I think the outside lane's the choice most of the night here if you're the leader, especially as the tires get older. You kind of get a pretty decent launch, get down and clear into turn 1, and then be basically wherever you want at that point. So I think that's going to be the move most of the night until you get to the final restart. Where kind of the gloves come off. You don't want to take the chance the guy inside gets good momentum, carries it up the track, gets into your door, and sees how well 8 can stop. But for now, yeah, outside lane is the choice here, and we're going to see if the 03 Clint Cox can do something with that choice, get up here and get back to the lead.
See what he's going to have for us on the restart. Pace car pulls off, getting ready to go back racing here tonight. Clint Cox, Jeremy Burns going to lead us back to the green flag. Then you got Alex Berube, Michael Reed, Caleb Gilbert, Kevin Orlando, the top 6. Frank Hughes, John Fike there as well. Green flag is in the air. And Clint Cox with a great jump. One truck up into the outside wall. Caleb Gilbert with a little bit of wheel spin. And he's going to check up that outside line. Drivers spread out, get clear. But Berube with a great launch as well. Just a side-by-side for second as Berube looks to take that spot away from Jeremy Burns.
Yeah, it's going to be tough there for Burns. You're not going to get a big run. The 91 behind him gets a huge run. Elects just to push him down here in the 3. That's going to clear Burns of the 19. Got to get off the corner pretty well here for the 72. He does. Going to maintain second place. First and fourth kind of sorted out here. 5th and 6th sorting each other out all the way back to probably 12th before we have a side-by-side battle between the 77 and the 84 truck. We got the 22 in the inside wall. Won't be a caution if he can get it back going straight in time here. Leader's going to be coming up on him quick, though, if he doesn't get it back going. He's rolling. Should be good, Trevor.
Travis, one of those drivers involved in the first caution, looks like he had trouble out of turn number 4, maybe fighting a broken truck, but he gets that machine going. We stay green, and up front, Jeremy Burns trying to track back down the 03. He was hounding him right before we got that first caution. The question is going to be, did Clint burn his tires up a little bit more? But behind him, battle for third. Here goes Michael Reed to the inside of the 19 machine. As Reed gets that pass done and cleared before they ever get to the exit turn number 4. So move Reed up to third place, Justice, as now he tries to track down our 2 race leaders.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, Trevor, it's like the tires heat cycled here, and these trucks seem to be handling a little better for some of these guys, but I just watched about 3 of them in the back of the field fishtail it and almost smoked the wall there. So still a big struggle off of turn 4. We're going to have a little flashback here, see what happened to Travis. Head just kind of loose there in the middle of 3 and 4 and never really regained it. It's pretty easy to do around here. This is a very interesting track with the way this banking fights the vehicles. It's one of the more physically demanding tracks in real life. These guys carry about 3 Gs into the corner or so at the pace they're flying. That's nothing if you're an F1 driver. It's a whole heck of a lot if you drive NASCARs for a living.
Yeah, and every part of this track is banked. Front stretch, corners, back stretch. I mean, you're never not in the banking, and you're always just fighting that truck at all times around here. There is no break for these guys. As Clint Cox continues to still lead the way, and looks like through the rest of the field, everybody just kind of spread out. Justice letting this first initial run through. But as I say that, Grant Thorpe going to look to the inside of the 84 of Devin Hudgens. There's going to be a battle all the way back there for 12th and 13th position. They got William Gay right there in the 44. A little bit of contact made. Grant Thorpe into the inside wall. Parts flying off at his truck, but we stay green. He locks it down, and That new damage model looking pretty good there for the spectators, but not good if you're Grant Thorpe. He's lost the whole front end of that 77 machine.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate end for that 77 machine. I imagine he'll try to keep it on track. I'm sure he has a meatball at this point, a little spicy meatball, as Grant would say. So he will probably head to the pit, see what he's got here, and we'll see if he maintains on track. Gonna be a shame here. It's our first night, Trevor. We're doing a little webcam test for the broadcast, a little driver on board. And we were talking beforehand, we've got a couple of leaners in the corners with Grant Thorpe and Caleb Gilbert. So at some point, we're going to get Caleb for sure on screen as long as he's still in the race. And we're going to enjoy the show. He's really fun to watch, really skillful. At some point, I expect he's going to make a run for this battle up front.
Yeah, at some point, I would expect to see the 54 machine moving up, moving back a little bit. It's going to be that 19 machine of Alex Berube. I'm just watching him. Looks like he's struggling here a little bit the last couple of laps, and Kevin Orlando, Caleb Gilbert, who we were just talking about, starting to close in. He's already given up one spot to Michael Reed, and it's kind of surprising seeing this from Alex, who's usually pretty dominant around this track, no matter what we race here in.
Yeah, I called him Alex Concrete Berube for the most of the front end of the season. We saw him really good at Nashville, really good at Bristol, and then we both knew, along with our producer Rob, and a lot of other guys racing tonight. Jeremy Burns, Caleb Gilbert, Kevin Orlando, John Fike, who's behind. These are all guys that have watched Alex absolutely dominate our Cup Dover races here without winning one yet. We've run it 3 times in the Next Gen era, and I think he's led, of the 600 laps we've run, he's led about 470 of them, and is yet to win any of the races. So tough luck when we come here, hit the barrels twice. This year just got off on strategy, but I expect at some point he'll figure it out. But, this truck is pretty demanding tonight. It looks like everybody's kind of fighting it. So Alex, typically pretty quick to adjust around here. I expect that to be the same. We'll see if he's got anything. Again, kind of on command. He is struggling off turn 4.
Good news about having a stage break, you get to learn for 35 laps. Come down, take your tires. Can't make any adjustments to the truck, but you can kind of adjust your driving style and what you need to do for that. Drivers just got to make it about 6 more laps before we get to that stage break. And right now, Michael Reed going to be, going up there trying to race Clint Cox, but we're going to be on board with the 19 machine here, Justice, of Alex Berube. Is see Michael Reed have a big moment at a turn number 4, but here goes Berube down into turn 1 chasing Jeremy Burns.
Yeah, and you see, one of those things that we've noticed about Berube, and Rob, the producer, and myself have discussed this a couple times in company of other drivers in the Cup Series. Alex, there's kind of 2 ways to drive this track. You can diamond the corners or you can wrap them. Alex typically can adapt to whatever the vehicle in front of him is doing and do whatever they're not. So if they're wrapping the bottom line, he'll diamond it, make his runs. If they're diamonding, he'll wrap it. When he's by himself, he does a perfect mixture of both. So if he's out leading, he will drive it one way until the tires tell him you have to drive it the other, and then he'll do the other. And he's just mastered that art. We see right now, just 2 laps ago, we're talking about him struggling. He hits the wall there. However, he continues to gain on all 3 vehicles in front of him. So talked about his struggles for 2 laps, and then here he is in the last 2 laps making up all kinds of time, clearly showing that he is learning as this goes. You go get this guy a fresh set of tires, he's going to be in contention for this win.
That he is, and right now up front, it's great battling for the top 4 positions. Michael Reed, here he goes to the inside of the 03 machine of Clint Cox, looking to get that stage win here tonight as we close in on that stage break. And Reed to the front as he clears the 03 machine on the exit of turn number 2. Jeremy Burns trying to follow suit, just didn't quite have enough room to do so, as the top 4 basically still underneath the blanket as they head into turn number 4.
Yeah, it looks like that 03 truck has burned the right front off, which is never good when you're battling a truck that is already pretty bad on the right rear. They've been pretty loose anyway. So if you burn the right front off and have to drive it off the right rear when the truck hasn't been happy on the right rear regardless, then you're in a whole lot of trouble very quickly, because you can't drive it off either tire. You just have no drive off. That appears to be what's going on with the 03 as you see the 19 continue to close on him. Alex makes a good run. Jeremy with a massive run off of 4 as Alex gets held up a little bit. And we see the 03 make a big block into 1 there. And this is interesting, Trevor. I thought the stage was lap 35, so I thought we were coming to the end there. Did you fool me?
That's what I read on the pre-race sheet, unless our producer put the wrong deal on there. So I would have thought it was 33 or 35. I'm sorry, but it looks like we're gonna keep going. And here goes Alex Berube now looking for second place through 1 and 2 to the inside of that 03 machine of Clint Cox, and looks like he's gonna get that pass done here out of turn number 2 as we march on, and we will try to find you that right stage break, Justice. But here goes Jeremy Burns now trying to follow suit.
Yeah, I'm going to assume it's probably lap 40. They do have Grant Thorpe, who's an admin, is in the pits. So I would imagine he'll be able to throw that caution when the time is right. But yeah, we see the 19 clear. Right now, the 91 kind of running away from him a little bit. The 19 kind of held up a little bit more by the 03 than the 91 was. So not too surprised that he was able to gap him a little bit. A little bit frustrating if you're Alex, but it'll be okay. You know you will get there. It's just part of it. And the stage is at lap 40, Trevor. End of lap 40.
Yeah, I mean, so we were off by 5 laps, but hey, it happens. Sometimes you get the you write down the wrong information in the heat of the moment, trying to take all your notes for the pre-race, and then things happen like that. So we got 2 laps to go here before the stage break. Michael Reed leads by about 1 second as drivers trying to fight for that top 10 position to get all their stage points. And right now, this would be a battle for 8th and 9th position between William Gay, John Fike. Fike almost up into the wall. Everybody hangs on to it, but Schaefer behind him, hard into the inside wall. That truck explodes into 1,000 pieces. And another truck claimed by the inside wall. Justice in the exit of turn number 4 bites another one.
Yeah, you know, the thing I'm watching right now, Trevor, is the 03 Clint Cox trying to defend against the 29 of Tay McDonald. Absolutely needs to. We're talking about him needing to gain points on Caleb in this championship battle. Right now, he would gain 2, 3 if he finishes the stage as he is. He manages to stay clear. He's going to basically gain a few points here. Would have gained a whole lot more, but just lost the handle on that truck. Just allowed 3 guys to drive right by him. So a little bit of a frustrating end of the stage, I'm sure, for the 03. Nice stage win for the 91, already a race winner this season. Looks like he's going to be tough to contend with, but I think that 19, you put these 2 guys on fresh tires, these guys are going to have a battle. So I think the fastest 2 trucks have now worked their way to the front.
Yeah, I think the battle between Reed and Berube is going to be really good. The top 4 in general, and now that Tay McDonald's up there, the top 5, I think is going to be a great battle to watch, especially on fresh tires. But here we go. We're going to stage caution here. Stage winner, Michael Reed, as we already covered. Alex Berube, Jeremy Burns, Clint Cox, Tay McDonald, Kevin Rolando, Caleb Gilbert, William Gay, John Fike, and Frank Hughes. The top 10 for tonight getting stage points. And with the stage break, we'd like to thank our race sponsors, Coastal Financial, being the primary sponsor of the Coastal Financial Racing Revolution Truck Series, and then Slurp Sodas as the secondary sponsor, helping us get this inaugural season underway. Justice, both of those companies doing a great job supporting these guys and getting us through this short season 1, only 10 races, with Dover and Homestead being the last 2 races.
Yeah, you know, we go to Dover, you talk about how easy the pit road barrels are to hit here. Even easier at Homestead. Ask Kyle Larson. You know, you can get in there and it's very hard visually if you're trailing another vehicle. As we see everybody get in clean. Whole lot of clean pit boxes here. It's going to be interesting. We do have 1 truck out there. It's Travis Gilbert, more than likely taking the wave around here. Michael Reed first off pit road. Battle between Burns and Alex. Who got it there? I think it was Alex. It's going to end up in 2nd. Burns 3rd. Clint Cox 4th. Tay McDonald in 5th. So just kind of maintain where they were. Everybody behind them. And I believe, Trevor, we're getting word. We're going to bring the stage winner up. Michael Reed, welcome to the booth.
Hey, how are y'all doing?
Doing good, buddy. Big stage win there. Truck looks fast tonight. A little bit of tire saving from the look of it. What kind of battle you think you got on your hands right now between the truck, the racetrack, and these guys behind you?
Yeah, I think it's going to be all about that tire management there. They were falling off. It seemed like about a second and a half, 2 seconds there by the end of it. So I think that's going to be the key tonight.
Michael, I mean, they look like a handful. We know that there was a big update to the chassis and the aerodynamics. How's the truck handling and feeling out there tonight?
It feels good. It's got a lot of push to it, which I think is getting snappy loose. But it feels good. You could definitely feel a difference in the new tire model, though.
Well, Michael, we appreciate your time tonight. We'll send you back to your team, and good luck. And hopefully, we're talking to you at the end of this thing.
All right, thanks, guys.
Justice, it
Kind of
sound-
what I expected there, to be honest, Trevor. I mean,
Right.
a 2 second fall off, you could see it probably the most in that 03 truck. He just fell off a cliff there. I mean, that was incredible. So, no surprise there from the stage winner. Again, I think that the fastest two trucks are the 91 and the 19, Trevor. If you're picking a winner, it's probably one of those two if it continues to just be a who can run the furthest race.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch how this plays out tonight here at Dover. And I did miss something on the introduction of this for the race sponsor, the Jamais Souvient 175. It is, as of course we mentioned, I remember, but it's the motto of Quebec, and the national day for Quebec is June 24th. And Alex Berube, our resident Canadian from Quebec, I believe, has chosen to sponsor this race, and that was the whole reasoning behind it. Justice, just in case you didn't know. His teammate Nick sent me that information. I missed that on the start as we get the choose cone underway and one wave around, and Michael Reed going to the inside, opposite of what we saw Clint Cox do on the after the first caution.
Yeah, I think that that shows the difference in the strategy there. What kind of shocks me is that you saw the 19 follow the 72, so swapping inside for outside, and basically kind of stayed that way the rest of the way. Everybody kind of swapped lines through the field there. So interesting choice here, but I think that the 91 proved that he's pretty good. So you just got to kind of think that he knows what he's doing here. Smart choice by him, I think, knowing that 72's up above you. Probably get a nice clean run off the start. Go down there and make some hay.
See what's going to happen. A couple of updates on some drivers. Chris Nail has called it a night in the 88 machine. He's going to finish somewhere down near the bottom end of this field. Dominic Hughes still getting damage repaired. Grant Thorpe, Travis Gilbert, Chris Schaefer, I believe, all back out on track after getting some damage repaired. Pace car is off, though. Michael Reed going to lead us back to the green flag. No more stage breaks. We're going racing to the end of this thing. Will we see long green flag runs? Will we see some cautions? Green flag is out. Here we go. Justice and Reed with a great restart. From the start of this, gets clear of Burns by about 4 truck lengths as they head into turn number 1.
29 truck either missed the shift or was in the wrong gear at the start there, and that held up the field tremendously from about 8th on back, 6th on back, wherever Tay was restarting. But yeah, right now we see Alex Berube, and this was why I questioned starting on that outside lane. He kind of ends up in 4th now with Kevin Orlando to his inside into 1. So maybe he took a little battle here. He's going to clear that 27 truck, but I think made that a little harder on himself than he needed to. I think if you just restart behind the leader, you're able to follow him through there. You're clear in the 3rd, and then you're just worrying about the 72 and 91. You've already seen how hard it is to pass that 03 when he falls off. The Alex get a little tight into the wall as the rest of the field is kind of single filed out behind him now. And that's kind of what I expect for probably the next 20 laps or so, Trevor. The less battling you do now, the more you set yourself up. I believe the information that I got pre-race said fuel's around 55 laps. So if it goes green the whole way, the way that my calculations work, these guys will have to make 2 pit stops. So I'm interested to see if it just stays green, where the strategies start to vary here.
Yeah, it's going to be the interesting part. How do you split that up? It had 5, I believe it was 5 sets, so 4 laying sets of tires tonight. So everybody, I'm assuming, took 1 there at the stage. So I mean, you'll have the sets of tires, but do you what's going to be their plan? How do you divide that up for the remainder of this race? That's going to be the question that we're going to have to watch out for. Right now is Kevin Orlando applying pressure to the 19 of Alex Berube, but that's one thing for Kevin. Justice, I know that he's quick, but will he be able to save the tires? And by the way, he's driving, I think the 27 might be one of the first trucks that we see fall off as he tries to run down that 19, but Berube hard into the outside wall. That's going to give Kevin a chance to go by here. And once that 27 passes you, we all know how hard it is to get back by that 27 machine. So Berube going to have his work cut out for him.
Yeah, Alex hit that wall a ton. And again, as you were kind of talking, we talk to Kevin all the time about being one of those guys that shreds the tires, right? He gets out here and he runs it hard. On a track where you're having 2 seconds of fall off, it's going to be very, very hard to pass Kevin as his tires fall off, because he's just going to block you and block you and block you. Now, I do think that if you're Kevin in a situation where the strategy is gonna vary how you make your 2 pit stops from here, assuming it goes green, right? You can't split it down the middle and make one, right? Because 55 and 55 is 110, they had 130 to go when they restarted. So you're looking at it, hey, how can I divide this? Do I go 50, 40, 40, to the end? Do I go 45, 45, and then what's that, 40 to the end? So you got to make a really interesting decision about how you're going to split this stage up. I think that if you're Kevin, you go on the shorter end. You go 40, 40, and then 50 to the end or something. Like, you have to do something different if you're somebody that burns tires up, and just try to get the track to rubber in as much as possible. That way you don't chew the tires up as much.
Yeah,
that's his best option.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. I think you're going to kind of undercut everybody around you for the most part for the remainder of this race to keep your track position and give you maybe the best shot at a good finish or potentially a win. Who knows what can happen here? As you see Picklesheimer with a great little drift there out of turn number 4. I believe he held on to that. Never mind. There's another front end flying down the front straightaway. That has been the action part of the racetrack. That what I believe it's Miles the Monster. That wall there on pit road has eaten its fair share of trucks tonight. But Berube back around the 27 of Kevin Orlando for 4th position, so move the 19 up 1 spot. Kevin falls back, and behind them, Justice, Caleb Gilbert, Kay McDonald, John Fike, Frank Hughes. They're all just kind of lurking further behind these guys, just kind of running their own race.
Now, I can guarantee you the entirety of the country of Canada let out a sigh of relief as Alex got back around Kevin basically in about 4 or 5 laps there. That's best case scenario if you're the driver of the 19 or a fan of the driver of the 19. As he continues to just kind of drive away from Kevin in the 27, it makes me wonder if Kevin's maybe trying to do something a little different as his pace has fallen off. Either that or he's burned him up a little faster than we thought he might. So interesting to see here is really those top 5 have kind of created a gap as it's about 15 car or truck lengths from Kevin back to Caleb, 5th to 6th. Meanwhile, the entire top 5 are basically under a blanket of about 25 car length. So just some reference for distance there. These guys kind of driving away a little bit from the field, and interested to see if that continues or if they start to fall off and the field reels them back in.
Yeah, it's going to be the interesting one to see. And looking at the lap times, you look back to Caleb Gilbert, he's about 2.5 seconds behind our race leader, Michael Reed. And running about a 10th slower than that as we get an onboard shot here of Clint Cox as Burns had a little bit of a moment out of turn number 2. But I mean, running about a 10th slower, Tate McDonald running about the same pace as our race leaders. So, it's going to be the fall off, I think, is going to be where it's at. Is Caleb saving, or does he just not have the pace? What's going to happen, especially with the top 4? Once they get together, Justice, and kind of have that battle that we saw them have toward the end of the stage, will that allow those guys to close back in as well?
Yeah, and I wonder if they even get to that point, Trevor. They were able to run a little harder there to the end of the stage with the caution happening on lap 15. They had about 25 to go. Once they went back green, they probably had about 20 to go. So they were able to push a little harder and get under a blanket at the end. I think with varying strategies here, you're probably not going to see them all 4 get under a blanket. At the moment, we see the top 2 kind of there right now, and getting a little push here if you're the 91. 72 trucks closing in, the 03 starting to come back on them. So interesting is now the top 3 are kind of driving away from the 19 of Alex Berube. The gap from Berube to the 03 in 3rd, and the gap to 5th, Kevin Orlando, are about the same at this point. So starting to see your contenders really shake themselves out. And I think guys right now are starting to think strategy, because as this field gets more spread out, the more likely it is to stay green, Trevor.
Yeah. We started tonight with 22 trucks, and I believe now we're down to that of about 19. There's a couple of drivers called it a night. Dominic Hughes, Chris Nail, Chris Schaefer, Dylan Picklesheimer have all called it a night. We get a look here at Caleb Gilbert's truck, Justice, and I believe also a nice driver cam shot of the 54 as he works his way around this 1 mile concrete monster as he tries to chase down Kevin Orlando in the 27.
Yeah, so fun here. You're going to see Caleb lean off into the corner here. And I don't care what anybody says, Trevor. The lean helps it turn. Always used to do that. That was my favorite part about playing the NASCAR video games growing up on the the PlayStation and such, is you start to turn the controller like it's a steering wheel too, like it's gonna help, knowing that you way overdrove the corner. But yeah, he leans pretty hard. It's pretty fun to watch. Him, and it's a shame that we're not going to get to see the 77 of Grant Thorpe doing that tonight. But yeah, these driver cams, great addition. I know the fans love to see this. You get to see your favorite drivers doing their thing. We got a handful of guys in there. At some point, we'll bring them all up. It's fun watching Caleb lean and do this stuff. But right next to him in our where we're seeing the cams, I see Alex Berube, and about every time off turn 4, his left hand is at the top of the steering wheel, which is typically not good. It means you're fighting it pretty loose.
Yeah, I think he's fighting it a little bit. I mean, he's starting to close back in on the top 3, and this kind of was the case toward the end of the stage where we thought he was falling off, starting to close back in. Burns, the big slide out of turn number 4, he catches it though, but you know, Reed starting to hit that kind of stride that he did toward the end of the stage, starting to pull away just a little bit. And this is where the 03 and the 19 kind of came back into play, and where Burns fell off. Justice, and I think we're starting to see that here again as we come to complete lap 67 and start lap 68.
Yeah, I watched for a long while there. Alex was kind of really working on the diamonding of the corner, and now it seems like he's trying to mix it in the middle of each corner. Like he kind of enters around trying to wrap up in the middle to high lane, and then get real slowed down and drive down to the bottom on the exit of 2 and 4. So very interesting what he's doing here. So we're gonna go on board and see it. So normally diamonding, you would go up and kind of peak a little higher than that and drive down and do this. Instead, he's basically, you see him come off of 2 here. We see him go into 3. He's gonna stick to a line right here, Trevor, and then just slow it down a bunch, get down and diamond this exit. So interesting strategy. Things that even maybe we could learn from a little bit. I'm trying to take it all in. Maybe next time we go, I try something like this. But yeah, again, you see really good guys. When guys have tracks figured out, it's because they're doing something different, something you're not used to seeing. And that's what we see right now from Alex. Is other guys are just rapping, staying in that same lane. He's moving all over the place, trying to figure out how he's going to get a run. We see that wheel flipping around there. He's got his hands full, but man, he is quick right now as he's closing in.
Yeah, looking at his lap times, ran at 25.6. Our leader, Michael Reed, ran at 25.2. And the only one close to that is going to be Jeremy Burns with a 4. Kevin Orlando ran a 25.4. I mean, these are from their fastest lap of the day, almost like Reed had said, 2 seconds of fall off Justice, as we see this little battle between Kevin Orlando, Caleb Gilbert, and the 29 of Tay McDonald. Back here for this is gonna be 5th, 6th, and 7th. That 2 second of fall off really is kicked in, and green flag pit stops, I'm guessing, gonna happen here in the next 10, 15 laps.
Yeah, man, I looked up and thought to myself, maybe Kevin needs to make a quick hitter into the pits here before you really lose a bunch of positions. But then I looked up and realized it's only lap 73, so he's got to wait at least, gosh, I don't know, about 10 to 12 more laps before he would want to make that call. And even then, I think he'd be on the early end of that. But right now, theoretically, you're in the fuel window that if you stop now, it's one more pit stop to get there. So guys could start pitting at any point now. I think most guys are probably looking to go another 15 to 20. But I'm interested to see right now, if you're the 91 truck, I think that you're looking at your relative. Right now he's a 1.5 clear of Burns. I think that you try to maintain that. The minute you start seeing that fall off, that's when you go pit. Do something different.
I agree with that. The second you see your time start to fall, the guys behind you start to catch you. You come down pit road, get that pit stop, get the undercut, fresh tires. You see everybody having a drift out of turn number 4 and go back out there. But for Reed, Justice, I mean, look at his lap times, about a half. I'm sorry, not a half second, but it's still about a 10th quicker than the guys around him. Jeremy Burns had it, 25.54 compared to Reed's 25.5 flat. So I mean, Burns is there, but Reed still just continues to kind of pull away from everybody.
Yeah, I mean, and again, as long as you're pulling away, you stay out there. It's the minute that they start pulling you back in, that's when you start doing it. I mean, if you're Michael Reed, if you're gaining all the way to the end, you run that thing bone dry. run your 55 lap run early, because all that's going to mean is you have shorter stints on your tires the next time around. So that's, again, if you're that much better, you just play the strategy as best you can in your favor. But right now continues to maintain about 2 to 3 tenths better than everybody around him. Really, the only person I see faster in the entire field is Kyle Diaz in 11th place. Ran about a half a tenth faster, and that's it. Other than that, that 91 continues to go out there and just put a whooping on these boys. See the 03, first one to pit road, going to try the undercut. Interesting to see. Ooh, that is not good for trying to make that happen.
Hey, it's better than hitting the barrels, but here we go. I was thinking maybe it was time for a commercial break, but no, it's time for green flag pit stops. Clint Cox, the first of our leaders down pit road in the 03 machine, and this has been the struggle for him this season, is getting the pit strategy right. Will this be the right call for him? Who else is going to come down pit road in the next couple of laps? Looks like everybody inside the top 5 staying out this time around. Justice, is it looks like the only truck was that 03 to make a pit stop that last lap and this lap.
Now, I'm going to tell you right now is about the time that I would pay to have Cliff Daniels in my ear telling me what everybody's doing and how we're going to make this tire strategy work. As Michael Reed continues to pull a gap lap after lap, man, he is just right now waxing these boys. Again, I think you stay out. If you're him, go beat him. Just continue to go beat him. I think the 19 struggled a little bit with that 03 truck. Started to just follow him, kind of was running something different than he wanted to. But right now, we continue to see these guys stay out. I would figure that 03 coming down maybe forces some decisions, but he was also, a little sideways going into pit road there, so probably lost a little more time than he would have liked to.
Yeah, just interesting strategy call by the 03 machine, but we'll get a shot here of Devin Hudgens, Justice, as he's been battling back there with the 25 of Dustin Adams, last week's winner from Talladega, in the and I believe also the 22 there of Travis Gilbert, who's trying to fight back after some damage. But Hudgens in a little bit different environment than what we typically see some of our drivers, as he's got the VR headset on tonight as he races in the virtual reality world, and looks like he's having a lot of fun trying to hold on to that truck as he's a big moment at turn number 4.
Yeah, that's a trippy experience. If you've never done it, you kind of get those goggles around your face, and then it's like kind of being actually in the car. You look left, look right, just like you would on your road car, and that's where you view everything. You would like to think that it makes it easier, Trevor. I've heard a little mixture of both. More immersive, but one of those things that's hard to adjust to. But yeah, Devin, we always laugh. He'll say in practice, like last week at the All-Star race on Wednesday, we saw him absolutely smoke the tire at North Wilkesboro and flip a couple times, and I was like, oh my God, I hope he's not in VR. And he indeed was, because it's a real trippy experience in VR, because the whole vehicle's flipping, but you're not in real life. So interesting to say the least.
Yeah, it's an experience. I've done it twice. Cool experience, just not for me. I much prefer the monitors, and everybody has their own setup, either single monitor, triple monitors, dual monitors, VR, what have you. But another taker down pit road, 27, Kevin Orlando, brings his truck down pit road as he pits from, I believe, about the 7th position. And now this, does this trigger the rest of the leaders? It didn't when Clint Cox pitted, Justice, but does Kevin pitting bring down the rest of our leaders?
No, I don't think so. I think a couple of these guys have made a bed that they don't really want to sleep in, but we'll see. Clint Cox just continues to be a tenth to a tenth and a half, 2 tenths faster. I'm sorry, not Clint Cox, Michael Reed. Clint Cox is gaining. Now, he's in 13th. He's a lap down. He's about a second and a half faster than Michael Reed right now. So again, this is one of those things where if you got a crew chief up on the pit box, they're telling you to maintain a certain delta. Keep running these lap times. You're gaining this, gaining that. You would really like to get as close as you can to that 91 truck before he pits. The closer you are, the more time you make up. But we see the 19 coming to pit road, and he's going to spin it. This 19 in pit road at Dover Trevor. They do not get along.
You know, I was watching him coming down, and I didn't want to say anything, and just locks the rear tires up, spins it sideways, doesn't make contact with the barrels though. Thankfully for Alex Berube, gonna be about 3 or 4 seconds lost there in this pit cycle. Is a little half spin gonna cost him here. But Caleb Gilbert gonna come down pit road. I believe somebody, not sure who that was in front of him. Jeremy Burns in front of him with a big lockup, trying to get that truck woed down as well. But two more drivers down pit road. Don't see any speeding penalties for anybody, Justice. But now Michael Reed, when does he come down? Looks like it's going to be this time by for the 91 machine, our race leader down pit road. So he tries to get it woed up, almost gets to the barrels, but 91 down pit road cleanly.
Yeah, I was about to say, once the two guys right behind Michael Reed pit, that's when you got to pit if you're the 91 truck. Clint Cox being the second and a half faster with the struggle he had in the pit road, not really a problem, I don't believe. So you kind of figure that's not going to be an issue. But Caleb Gilbert got in cleanly. Burns semi-cleanly. Burns and 91 kind of similar there. A little bit of a lockup, a little wiggly. But Caleb got in clean. See guys continue to really struggle. It is very clear that this thing, there is something slippery right there at that entry.
Yeah, I thought Frank for a second might have ended up in the pit road barrels, but he got it woed down and turned back to the right. Turned back to the left, I'm sorry, and stayed up out of the wall. Right now, John Fike, William Gay, and Nick Owls yet to make their pit stop along with Devin Hudgens, and I believe Justin Hughes as well yet to come down pit road. Kyle Diaz down pit road we just saw, and so that'll hand the lead back, I believe, to the 03 of Clint Cox as he works his way through, unlapping himself here. Justice, he gets by our race leader, John Fike.
Yeah, he has unlapped himself. John Fike made it as hard as he could there. A little bit of a struggle. We do have a truck up in the wall in 1 and 2. He gets out of there. It was Justin Hughes in the 3 truck. So, yeah, this is going to be very interesting now to see how this sorts out. The 03 may inherit the lead. I'm just tempted to see how far ahead of the 91, the 72, the 19 that he comes out, as it looks like the 72 sorted out ahead of Michael Reed there. Maybe a little bit better pit stop, a little bit better rolling time, one or the other. So interesting to see what happens here.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't gone back to see what happened there, but Burns got out ahead of Michael Reed. And as everybody cycles through, we'll see what that gap is going to be between the 03 and the 72 of Jeremy Burns. And looking at it, I'm going to say roughly 10 seconds or so between those. Maybe closer to
12. Yeah,
okay.
It's about a half a track. So Burns is in the middle of 3 and 4 here. Clint Cox is about in the middle of 1 and 2. So at the pace that Clint Cox was at earlier when he was on the fresher tires, he's now got an 11 lap tire deficit. And right now that appears to be good for about 0.4 of a second that Burns is making up. So both, you consider they fall off about equally from here. I would say that they'll catch Clint Cox sometime in the next 12 to 13 laps. And then we'll see how the tire strategy plays out from there, because that's going to be very close to, again, putting guys within the fuel window to make it from there to the end.
That's going to be close. We'll see how it works out. We're still waiting on, I believe, 4 trucks to make their pit stop. 5 trucks, technically, to make their pit stops. John Fike, William Gay, Nick Alves, Devin Hudgens, Justin Hughes to all come down pit road for their pit stops. That's this green flag run continues. Gives us a chance to shout out our sponsors, Coastal Financial Services, whose goal is to provide their clients with tailored financial advice. If you need anything related to finances, be sure to go over to their website and check them out at Coastal Financial on their website. And also Slurp Sodas, who are located in the greater Phoenix area. If you need anything catering wise, or you just out and about at community events, check out their roaming trailer for their delicious sodas. You can check out their website at slurpsodas.com. You can also check them out on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at Slurp Sodas. Huge shout out to those guys as they've been on board since the start of the season, helping us get through this and all our growing pains and all the fun stuff that we've dealt with here in the first 8 races or so for the Coastal Financial Racing Revolution Truck Series.
Yeah, we see right there, Trevor, 72 and 91. naturally unlap themselves. The John Fight does continue to lead here, about 16.5 seconds clear of Clint Cox. Tries to come to pit road there, but loses it. Not going to be able to go. That's where you lose a ton of time if you're John Fight. Maybe getting word. Maybe Travis hit him. I didn't quite see that, Trevor. As I was looking at my screen, at a little different battle, and looked up at our broadcast screen, but he continues to be off pace here. I imagine pitting this time. That's a teammate, Caleb Gilbert, there. So we go up. Really fighting it, Trevor. Holy cow.
I mean, you want to talk about being aggressive, getting to pit road? That's how you do it. And Fike with a great job getting that to pit road. Here comes Nick Alves as well. William Gay also down pit road. He technically inherited the lead after Fike's little mishap. But those three all down pit road, and this is going to hand the lead over to the 03 machine of Clint Cox. And this will give us our true gap here between the 03, the 72, and the 91 of Burns. Actually, I think Hudgens still out there on track yet to make his pit stop. But the gap between the 03, Jeremy Burns, and Michael Reed, about 5 seconds, Justice, as they're starting to track him down. And those tires falling off for that 03 machine with how early he pit.
Yeah, put my calculations pretty close to spot on, as about 6 laps they made up about 6.5, 7 seconds. So pretty close, but right now, I mean, Clint Cox is off a cliff, Trevor. Running 25.4s. Jeremy Burns just ran a 24.4. So a second off pace. So I would expect that Burns catches him in the next 3.5 laps or so. And then he will pass him like he is sitting still. Michael Reed actually ran a 24.30 on that previous lap. So yeah, well off pace here for Clint Cox as expected. 11 lap tire advantage, and he's also been one of the guys that ran it really hard. One of the things I do want to talk about, John Fike was really close to disaster there. As where the lap counter is, these guys pitted on lap 41. We got word that fuel was around 55 laps. Once they went green, it had been about lap 45. He pitted on lap 100. He tried to pit on 99, but he could have run out of fuel very easily if not careful there. So very lucky to not run out of fuel when he missed pit road there, or got assistance missing pit road. Very, very tight window that he was trying to hit.
Yeah, close window for that of Fike, but he made it down pit road. Everybody's made it down pit road for their green flag pit stops. This thing is cycled out. We're going to take a quick break here on lap 105. We're going to go side by side so you guys don't miss the action as Jeremy Burns and Michael Reed try to run down our race leader. But we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back.
All About Bugs Tennessee Pest and Termite Control is all about family too. Our family-owned business has successfully been in operation in Sevierville and surrounding areas for almost a decade. Especially during these times, a pest-free home is necessary for a sustainable, disease-free home or business. Our services include residential, rental, commercial, hotel, motel, cabins, you name it. Free quotes and inspections for new customers, and most of our services are contract-free. Our All About Bugs Tennessee family is devoted to delivering the best possible pest control service with a friendly smile. Contact us at 865-453-5574 today.
If it's bugging you, you should be bugging us.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Revo Racing Network for the Coastal Financial Racing Revolution Truck Series. You saw the great battle up front as Jeremy Burns, Michael Reed caught the 03 of Clint Cox, got around him. A little bit of a argy-bargy down the front straightaway, but then Justice pit strategy, interestingly enough, the second he gets past and goes back to third, Clint Cox down pit road, the 03 machine making his second green flag pit stop of the day.
Yeah, I'm. You tell by my stuttering, I am incredibly shocked right now. Because from what we have fuel information wise, Trevor, you can't make it from here on fuel. So very interesting. We're at lap 111. Leaves about 64, 65 to go. We got word that fuel was 55 laps. So I don't really know what the play is here unless you try to run two really super short ones. But if you're going to do that, you're betting on no late cautions because if you take these tires, he's only got one set left. So if he were to try to cut it in half from here, run hard, go get him, run hard again, and we get a green-white checkered, he's out there on lame duck tires in a really bad spot.
Yeah, it's an interesting strategy call, and it's kind of been the theme of the season for Clint. He's had the speed, just hasn't had the strategy calls to back it up. And tonight, again, questionable calls for the 03 machine, but we'll do a quick full field rundown, let you know where all your favorite drivers are running as we've been going green since that stage break at lap 40 right now. Race being led by Michael Reed, Jeremy Burns in second. As you see him there dealing with some lap traffic, some drivers on fresher tires. As you see Travis Gilbert, Devin Hudgens, William Gay all trying to get around the 72 machine. You got Alex Berube running in third. Caleb Gilbert runs fourth with Tay McDonald in fifth. Kevin Orlando is going to run in sixth with Kyle Diaz there in seventh. I'll slow down just a little bit, let our producer catch up on the name calling out. I didn't realize he was going to be nice and switch cameras for everybody. But then you got Kyle Diaz there in the 26, running in seventh. Frank Hughes runs in the eighth position, followed by the aforementioned 44 machine of William Gay. Back up there, he's doing battle. John Fike runs behind him there in 10th position. Then you got last week's winner, the 25 of Dustin Adams, runs in 11th. Nick Alves, after being caught up in caution number 1, runs in 12th, with Justin Hughes in third. The man who just made that green flag pit stop, Clint Cox, runs in 4th. And Devin Hudgens will be in 15th position. All those drivers one lap down or working their way back onto the lead lap. Then we have Travis Gilbert, Grant Thorpe out there multiple laps down and out of the race. Dylan Picklesheimer, Chris Schaefer, Chris Nail, and Dominic Hughes will round out the field in 21st position.
Yeah, 8 cars on the lead lap, or 8 trucks on the lead lap at the moment here, Trevor. See if a couple guys can maybe get their lap back as they're on fresher tires battling this leader. Seen William Gay getting ready to do that here. John Fike closing in on him. Dustin Adams a little further back, may have his hands full trying to make that happen, but probably going to end up with about 10 guys on the lead lap as this gets ready to cycle. But again, now we see a game here with the 91 and the 72. How do you play it? 72 kind of got these cars, trucks trying to unlap themselves in a weird spot. 91 hasn't had that as much, so that makes a difference when you're trying to catch him. Burns lost quite a bit of time. Now the 91's just kind of got track in front of him. I know there's trucks up there, but John Fike's going to continue to drive away from him. 72 back here now just kind of settled in with the 19 closing in on him.
Yeah, Berube closed it in after his pit road mistake, trying to close that in. And for Burns, kind of catching lap traffic at a bad time. All these drivers, like William Gay, John Fike, Dustin Adams, Nick Alves, those were all drivers that pit super late into that run on the fresher tries, trying to come back up through the field. But been watching Jeremy the last couple of laps, and we're watching his truck here through the corners. That truck, Justice, on corner exit does not look happy, especially now that he's dealing with the 22 there of Travis Gilbert. They both get by him, but for Burns, it looks like the right rear of that truck has left the racetrack, as they say, as it just hasn't looked comfortable for him.
Yeah, the funny part is I'm also kind of looking at driver cams on our secondary screen here, and Burns just looks like he's on a Sunday stroll. Doesn't really look like it's all that tough for him, but interesting, as you watch how everybody handles these different handling vehicles and what they're doing to them. Watching Grant Thorpe's camera, and clearly off pace. That truck's beat up, still doing the power lean. So really fun here is I think we're going to try to get Grant on screen. Like I said, he's about 15, 20 miles an hour off pace, but that doesn't stop him from getting lean on.
Yeah, that truck took a hard hit to the inside wall after contact, I believe, with Devin Hudgens earlier on in this race. It wasn't a caution, but here we go. 77, the Grant Thorpe machine, the fuel saver, as we so Playful, or as we so lovingly call him on Wednesday nights, out here just clicking laps off, and you see the lean through 3 and 4 as he works his way out of turn number 4 and across the line. Justice and his crew there using some duct tape they might have picked up from Dollar General to tape the front end of that truck back together for the rest of this race.
Yeah, DG selling bear bond now. Yeah, again, really fun to see how all these guys drive this track differently and what they're doing and what they do when they're in there. Because I know sometimes I've got my camera up and I don't really want my lips being read for what I might be saying, because it's probably something bad about you, Trevor, or bad about Rob. So, yeah, you know, really gracious of these guys to put their cameras on, show us what they're doing behind the wheel of the cars. As we, it's really funny. You can always tell who's got the broadcast up, kind of on another screen. As we saw Grant taking a couple peeks up there, you can see himself on screen. So as we're now on board again, the 19 of Alex Berube. He's now fully closed this gap to Jeremy Burns, looking for the clean air. How do I get around him, and how do I go hunting for that 91 truck?
Yes, the battle for second place here, and Berube's been there, just hasn't been able to get clear, and looking for a way. Burns going to cover him off here through 1 and 2, take that clean air away from the 19 machine, but Berube trying to get that good arc, get a good run off, and maybe have a little bit of a look down here into 3 and 4. Nope, going to go to the high side here. Go for what I would imagine Justice can be a late diamond to the bottom and try to get a good run here off of 4. And looks like he's going to get a good run off of 4. Looking for a move here to the inside into turn number 1. No, just going to look back to the outside and try to set him up again.
Absolutely huge run, Trevor. And I think if you're Alex, that he made the right choice there. Go high, try to diamond it again, get that big run off of 2. If you get that big run a couple laps in a row like that, at some point you're all the way to that bumper and you're getting by him. The problem is when you're crossing over the wake of that 72 truck, at least how it normally feels, you get really, really tight and the nose just doesn't want to continue to go where you are. And right now, that 72 truck clearly mirror driving, starting to try to cover off that diamond a little bit, get a little lower on exit. We're going to see it here. Now the 19's got clean air. Should get a pretty big run if he can keep it off the wall. He does, and this is going to be a big dive, I think, to the outside. Yeah, he makes the move. Now we'll see. Can he cross over this wake and not get tight? Just, yep, 72 again. Covers it off really nicely. Really, really loose. Fighting tight in the loose there. It's very tough for the 19.
Yeah, you saw him when he got about to a quarter way to that quarter way to being squared on the rear bumper. The truck just did not keep turning for him and broke traction halfway down the back straightaway. But Berube doing a good job holding on to that. Gonna have to pull the tires off for a couple of laps and try to get caught back up. But he's got pressure from behind. It's the 03 of Clint Cox on those pressure tires, trying to get back up through the field. As you see the 03 a little working his way to the inside. Another driver has made a pit stop. That was Dustin Adams in the 25, last week's winner from Talladega. He's made his pit stop. What I would assume, Justice, is going to be his final pit stop of the night for the 25 machine, unless we get a late race caution. But back here, Kevin Orlando going to battle with Kyle Diaz. As Diaz trying to get clear of the 27 machine, as this is going to be a battle for 6th and 7th position.
Yeah, and this is, again, if you're Kevin, this is about your window of opportunity. He's probably about 5 laps from that 45-45-40 split that I was talking about originally. It may work out for him, get him a little plus delta, but we shall see if that works out that way as he continues to battle. These two apparently have a way of finding each other. They've had some pretty good battles. Kyle Diaz, Kevin Orlando. Something about those consecutive numbers. We see that with the 14 and the 15 on Wednesday nights with Trevor Keith and Michael Bennett, a couple guys that are normally here on Mondays. Hate that those guys didn't make it tonight, but yeah, it's I don't know. Something about it, Trevor. Maybe we need to be the 41 and 42 next season.
Yeah, something like that. Whereas as much as we're around each other on a racetrack, it seems like our luck isn't that great. It would appear the last couple of weeks we've been around one another. Kevin Orlando, though, going to bring that 27 machine down pit road, as well as Berube.
Oh, he does it
He
again.
doesn't. He barrels it this time, not as dramatic as it has been in the past, but there it is. The barrels have been clipped. And Justice, I can only imagine the performance team chat right now with him and Nick isn't the funnest of places to be, as the 19 now does the long drive down pit road to his pit box. and we caught that live on camera, and that's gotta hurt for the 91 or for the 19. But here comes the 91 down pit road along with the 54 and all that excitement. Potential last pit stops underway here is Jeremy Burns going to be the late driver, one of the late drivers staying out, and here comes Kyle Diaz.
Yeah, and the question for me here is, did Burns learn anything from the Richmond experiment? Can't keep it out here for too long. Can't afford to lose a second and a half a lap for multiple laps here. So he's going to need to make something happen. See that 03 Clint Cox in front of him? Clear that his stuff is starting to fall off pretty hard. As he was very loose on the exit 4. I would fully expect 72 has learned from Richmond. He should be pitting right here. Come on down. The cycle's already triggered. Everybody else jumped down at the same time. He continues to stay out. Let's see how this works out for him. Maybe catches that caution at the right time today.
Yeah, it's just an interesting call. We know that Clint Cox has to make another pit stop. That is guaranteed that the 03 machine will have to make one more pit stop. Jeremy Burns, you know, I feel like if you're running it this late into the run, the time you're going to lose isn't going to be too much than the time you're going to make up on fresh tires. I wasn't there for the Richmond race. Unfortunately, I was out with some sickness. You and Rob called that one, and you saw it firsthand from what I heard, that he stayed out a handful of laps later than everybody else and just wasn't able to make that time gap up.
Yeah, he stayed out super long, and once you do that, you're making a bed that you really don't want to sleep in, because guys just make up too much time on you. We saw it yesterday in the Cup Series race at Sonoma, where sometimes that can work out if you're on a differing tire strategy, and you have enough laps where you can just run all out, right, and get to them. And that's what we saw Kyle Larson do yesterday. Cliff Daniels figured out it was about a second and a half a time that he could gain per lap. Kyle Larson went out there and was able to just push hard with 13-lap newer tires. Here we see Burns wait about 3 to 4 laps longer than most of the field, or most of the guys that he was racing around. We're going to see if that benefits him later on in the run. That's going to be a TBD. Trevor, as we see everybody has come to pit first through third. That's going to cycle Clint Cox to the lead, but again, has to make another pit stop. Very interesting strategy from the 03 truck.
Yeah, interesting strategy from him. Tay McDonald yet to make his pit stop. The 29 being shown currently as the race leader. Then it'll cycle around to Clint Cox, Nick Alves, and then I believe Justin Hughes, and then Michael Reed will inevitably inherit the race lead. Clint Cox down pit road as the notification flashes up on my end that the 03 machine making what is going to be his final pit stop of the night. And the timing, Justice, I don't know how this is going to play out for him. Kind of like the Jeremy Burns situation, to be determined. But Tay McDonald still out there on track, leading this thing, as he's going to have to make his final pit stop here, looking when he last pit lap 89 here in the next about 5 laps or so.
Yeah, he should have about 4 to 5 laps of fuel. This will be the 52nd lap of his run as he crosses the line. Nick Alves right in front of him. This is actually weird. This is first and second, but the other way around. Right? Tay's in first, Nick's in second. So very, very rare you see this other than in a pit cycle. Nick on about 12 lap newer tires, but appears to be struggling with the handle of that truck. So very, very interesting. But yeah, Clint Cox looks like he's going to cycle somewhere around 13th. So net basically 0 if that's the case. If he went and got 4 tires here, which timing looks like it did. Just no way he's going to make up that gap. At least not the way that we've seen him fall off tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for him to come back through there. You see the 91 Michael Reed flash through the middle of our first and second place drivers. It's actually that was our third place driver. Now make him second, as that was a pass 4 position on Nick Alves. Is they trying to put the now third place driver 1 lap down in Nick Alves. And the joys of green flag pit cycles, Justice. You have second place who just unlapped himself, and now third place getting ready to try to hold on and stay on the tail end of the lead lap here as this plays out here, working lap 145.
So this is a very interesting scenario. because all the way up until like the 3 car Justin Hughes be the next one to catch these guys if he does. All the way up till he passes them, as we see now, Tay's getting ready to pit. That will end up surrendering the lead to Michael Reed. It's going to allow a bunch of these other guys to get their lap back. But as long as Tay stayed out there and Michael Reed was clear of him, he was praying for a caution, because he could have trapped basically the entire field a lap down except for 3 guys, 2 of which he has been significantly better than all race. So Nick Alves continues to be out here. He is going to have to pit sometime in the next 8 to 10 laps. I would think if you're Nick, you probably want to pit in the next 3 or 4 so that you have time to go run yourself hard and see if you can make up the gap, get a lap back, put yourself in position to maybe use your tire advantage.
We'll see how it plays out for Nick. One driver having issues getting onto pit road. Well, not one of the lone drivers having issues, but Justin Hughes got into the inside wall coming down pit road. The 3 machine with required damage for the second time tonight. He's gonna have to get that fixed and repaired to get back out there for himself. Nick Alves running second, about 7 seconds behind that of Michael Reed. Here comes Jeremy Burns. That's kind of an opposite of that first green flag run. Reed came in about 2 or 3 laps later than Burns did. Was able to run him back down and get clear by about 3 or 4 seconds. Now the opposite for Burns. The issue though, Justice, is he's about 7.5 seconds behind Michael Reed. See the battle with Clint Cox, John Fike, Nick Alves. This is going to get tight. 3 wide, 1 and 2. Looks like they're going to clear the 3 wide, but now it's going to be Fike into the Cox as they battle out of turn number 2.
Yeah, about 7 seconds, like you said, the difference between Michael Reed and Jeremy Burns. 5 lap newer tires for Jeremy Burns. He is going to need to run hard for these next 25 laps to see if he can make up that gap. The problem is he's got to run hard. Michael Reed can just run consistent. By the time Burns would get there, it'd be very hard to pass him if you burnt your stuff up. So, interested to see, Trevor. Can Burns get there? Can he make up the gap? We've seen him take about 6/10 off. We see a truck in the inside wall, this time off a 2 instead of 4, Trevor. Another front clip flying.
That's Justin Hughes again in the 3 machine. The pit cycle didn't go well for him, and exited turn number 2 did not go well for the 3 machine, as that is going to be a blown motor for Justin Hughes as he works his way down pit road. And actually, caution out on track. Devin Hudgens goes around in the 84 machine, and this changes everything, as looks like Justice, I'm not quite sure how many drivers we're going to have on the lead lap, but this shakes everything up, as it'll actually get Burns and Reed a chance to come down and be on the same tire strategy if they like to come down and take tires.
This could get interesting quickly. I think you may see the top few stay out. 8 trucks on the lead lap. I think you're going to see a mixed bag of strategy. Burns in the best position tire-wise of those 8 guys on the lead lap. Man, I don't know. I think there's going to be some rights, some full 4 stops. Nick Alves, probably the biggest beneficiary here, was getting ready most likely in the next 2 laps to pit. Ends up maintaining 5th place. Going to get to go fire 4 fresh tires on here. And there's no telling what you can do. Sometimes you just got to be in position, see if you can go get this thing done. But going to be a little unfortunate for some other guys that kind of get stuck. They've been quick all race. See the leader coming down to pit in the 91, 72 down pit road, 54, 19 follows, 24, 27, 26, 61. That was the 8 guys that were actually on the lead lap. So all of those guys pitting, that's going to allow some guys to take a wave around, go to the back of the pack, and see if they can sort this thing back out.
Yeah, I believe William Gay will get the lucky dog in the 44, and then everybody behind him, Tay McDonald, Clint Cox, Dustin Adams, John Fike, all going to have to take the wave around to get back on the lead lap. And for Clint Cox, in the kind of oddball strategy, Justice, not what you wanted to see for the 03 team, as he's going to have to take the wave around and doesn't have a fresh set of tires left. His service done for the 91. He's down and away, then followed by Jeremy Burns. It's like Caleb Gilbert going to be the 3rd truck off pit road, then a battle between the teammates, but Berube going to be 4th truck off pit road. And actually, in this caution cycle, just as a huge break for that 19 machine after the mistake that he made on the green flag pit stop.
Yeah, big time benefit here as he gets to close back in and see if he can get there. As we're getting word, we're gonna bring the 72 machine up here. Jeremy Burns, welcome to the booth, buddy.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, just out here watching you really wheel this thing, man. You know, got driver cams tonight. That was something you'd asked about as a feature. We've seen those hands be pretty active at times. What's it going to take to go up here and battle this 91 and get this dub?
Well, this 91's really strong first off, so we're just going to have to execute from the choose all the way to this restart. Minimize the wheel slip and just try to stay even going through 1 and 2. And then after that, I mean, we got 20 laps, so I can either see this going where we have caution after caution or it goes green. So just got to see what we do here to maybe conserve a little tire here. But if we get another caution, then we're probably going to be full out to the end.
Burns, I know at the beginning of the race and kind of after the stage break, you look pretty equal to the 91 on the short run. Is that where you feel like you maybe have something for him here in this what is going to be quote unquote a short run with 20 laps, or do you feel like you need a little bit more, like a longer run to have anything for him?
I feel like I can definitely stay even on the short run, but I definitely have to use a lot more tire than him. He's a little bit better than me around here, so we're gonna try our best to stay as even as possible. But we also have to think big picture here with the championship battle because we got Caleb right behind us. Clint Cox is somewhere. I know that he was on kind of an alternate strategy, so overall, just trying to get a solid points day. And you know, if we come away with the win, it's one thing, but coming away with really good points is another.
Well, Burns, we wish you luck. I think y'all are getting ready to choose here. We'll send you back to your team chat, and hopefully we're talking to you at the end of this.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
72 machine of Jeremy Burns, the driver currently in second, and there he goes to the outside line. Just going to restart to the outside of the 91 machine of Michael Reed, who I believe was also pretty dominant at the last concrete, or one of the last concrete tracks we were at. I believe he got the win at Nashville, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe you're correct. Memory serves me right. Was also pretty good, I believe, at Bristol. I think got wrecked there and didn't end up getting the finish he wanted. But yeah, these weird how these concrete boys. It doesn't matter what the surface is like, as far as big banked like this, or mile long, half mile like Bristol, the mile and a third like Nashville. If it's concrete, they're good at it. I don't know what it is, the way that the surface interacts with how they drive, but we talked about the 19 as well being one of those guys. So we heard the 72 talk about it. I think the 03 not really, or shouldn't really be top of mind for those guys points wise. This battle has probably come down to him and the 54 for this championship battle if something doesn't change very quickly. So getting ready to launch here, Trevor. Maybe the final restart of the night.
Coming to 20 laps to go. Working our third caution of the night. And here we go. Green flag racing. Michael Reed with a great jump. Just got to maintain lanes there. And it looks like he's going to be clear of the 71 as they head down into turn number 1 and 2. Alex Berube trying to fight with the 54 of Caleb Gilbert as they work their way out of the exit of turn number 2. And that's one driver I'm going to have my eye on, Justice, is that 19 machine. This short run, here we go. Top three sorted themselves out. It's kind of the top three that we've seen all night long with the 91, 72, and 19. Question's going to be, how is this going to play out as this race unfolds? Is there 2x2 behind them with Nick Alves and Kyle Diaz?
Yeah, if you're the 19, 72 to 91, you know one thing, you don't have to save quite like you have all night. 19 continues to back it up, meaning he thinks he might have to save a little bit, but thinks he can make the gap up. So I think that he's going to make his way up there, but may take him 6-7 laps to get himself back to that bumper and then get in the fight. That 91, man, he is quick. See, the 03 almost makes that same mistake we've seen all night. He dives off to the inside of the 44, William Gay. Clint Cox going to clear William Gay here off of 2, and they are going to straighten that back out. Good to see back there. Don't want to see a caution. I think that a 20-lap run to the finish is probably just what we needed to see this battle get real tight.
20-lap run, or give me like a 15-lap run and a caution, because if my math is correct, I don't think anybody has a set of tires, or maybe my math is wrong. I know Clint Cox doesn't have a set left, but I think everybody else used their final set there, Justice. So that could be a little bit spicy. A late race restart on some worn tires could be interesting, but this is where that caution might rear its ugly head. Is this Nick Alves, Tay McDonald, Clint Cox? It's going to be a battle back here for 8th, 9th, and 10th position as they try to work their way through one another and bouncing off the wall was the 24, but everybody keeps it straight. Had to give up one spot, might give up another one here to the 03.
Yeah, really surprised to see Nick struggling quite like that. Should be on the freshest tires of all of them, unless something happened and he took an extra set somewhere along the way, and he's on an old set. Very interesting as he continues to fall back. Now trying to drive back underneath the 03 Clint Cox again. He should have a tire advantage, so gets up into the wall a little bit there. Kind of shoves him up there, and I think maybe that's a little bit of, hey, I didn't catch a break at Talladega. You almost wrecked me, so I'm not going to lift here. You can figure it out yourself, man. As he tries to block him here, and they continue to be side by side. Hate to take away from what might be happening up front, but those guys continue to be sorted out. This is the best battle on the track right at the moment.
Tell you now, up front, about 4 truck lengths separate the 2 race leaders, and right now we're going to continue watching this battle for that of 10th position between, or 9th and 10th between Clint Cox and Nick Alves. And there is I wouldn't say no love lost there, as Nick gets a big slide there. Is William Gay going to try to close in and get involved in this battle, and now make it a battle for 9th, 10th, and 11th. But I think a little bit of hard feelings left over from last week, is that battle now sorted itself out as we move up the field. Caleb Gilbert, the points leader, trying to run down Alex Berube. Kevin Orlando there as well. And Berube, Justice, just didn't launch on this restart. 12 laps to go. Sits at about a 1.5 seconds back. Jeremy Burns about a 0.5 second back from our race leader, but kind of surprised from the 19.
Yeah, I almost wonder if maybe the compounding damage from the wall hits kind of reared its ugly head here. We're closing in. We're going to take 11 to go here at the line. 91 crosses. And that 91 continues to just kind of drive off into the sunset a little bit. Gained about a 10.5 on Burns that time. Now, 19 was faster, not by much, a couple hundredths, but he was faster on that lap. So maybe just biding his time. But it seems like second and basically 3/4 almost now is going to be very, very tough to make up in 10 laps. You have to be well more than a 10th faster every lap to make that happen.
Yeah, he's going to need to pick it up to run down that 91 and see if he's got anything for him. Field kind of single filed itself out. As I say that, there's Nick Alves and Clint Cox going at it yet again. These two not cutting each other any sort of break or any slack, as they say, as they work their way through 4. Cox is going to get up into the wall a little bit. Here comes William Gay to the inside. They're going to have their little battle, but it looks like Clint's going to give that spot up. He falls back to 11th place. We jump back forward, and here's Caleb Gilbert again, just the points leader. Justice doing what he needs to do to kind of secure this championship as they head into Homestead for the final race next week.
Yeah, it may be a situation where he starts it and probably locks it up, but we'll have to look at that as it gets closer, Trevor, and whatever happens here. This is not over. I mean, one caution and then a bad wheel spin up front, and Caleb finishes as the last car, you know, at somewhere around, gosh, if there was a caution now and he wrecked on the restart, there's a chance he would finish basically 15th, 14th. So big time difference could be made. Obviously, never hoping that happens. You want to see guys have the best luck they possibly can. You don't want to see it come down to something like that. But yeah, just doing what Caleb does. Best average finish right now in the league this season. So I kind of expect that to be the guy that wins the championship in this kind of format. But not going to be lacking for excitement. That 03 tried to make it as interesting as he could all season so far, but looks like he may be out of it. 72, about the best chance right now, as he continues up front to just lose truck lengths to Michael Reed, who is, man, he has been the fastest truck all night. I don't even know what to say about it, Trevor. 105 laps led right now. Looks like he's about 5 more of those away from walking this thing into victory lane.
Yeah, I mean, that truck has been on a rail basically since he got the lead. I mean, he hasn't looked back apart from the green flag pit stop cycles. Michael Reed has just been dominant. And, you know, thinking back to that Nashville race, I'm pretty sure showed equally as good speed there. Had a little bit of battling up there with Caleb Gilbert and Clint Cox, if I remember correctly, from that race. But showed really good speed there. And if I remember back to the Bristol race as well, had to take an EOL penalty and worked his way up to the front of the field a couple of times before he inevitably got caught up in a wreck. So not at all surprised to see him have a good run here. He got a couple of lap trucks he's got to work his way through here. Coming to 3 to go as he's got John Fike and Dustin Adams in front of him. But here we go. Kyle Diaz making a move to the inside of Kevin Orlando. This is going to be a battle for 5th and 6th. Justice with 3 to go.
Yeah, and again, we talked about it. These guys just have good battles, especially they're on even tires now. So these guys are going to really, really hang it out on the line. They seem to enjoy racing around each other. Kyle relished in the battle that it was the last time we had him up here in a post-race interview. Said he loved battling with Kevin. Knew it was going to be tough. Made the pass he had to get third in that race. So he knew it was going to be tough to get him, but we're going to continue to see those two guys battle it out. As it looks like Kyle's peaking down here in the 3 and 4. Going to take his look. Can he get the right roll here through the middle? So he gets all the way up there, and they're going to come side by side off of 4. Now we're going to have a really tight battle, and we see Alex Berube in front hit the wall. He may end up losing 3rd place to Caleb Gilbert.
2 battles we're going to watch. It's going to be the battle between Caleb Gilbert, Alex Berube, Kevin Orlando, Kyle Diaz. Working their way out of 1 and 2. I can tell you this, Michael Reed out of turn number 4. He sees the checkered flag. He's going to get the win here tonight, along with Jeremy Burns is going to come home second. Looks like Caleb Gilbert going to get that 3rd place. Kevin Orlando hard off the wall. He spins across the line. Not sure if Diaz got that. Looking at timing and scoring, it's going to be Kevin Orlando gets the 5th position. Kyle Diaz in 6th. And Justice, Kevin gave it all he had, ran it up into the fence, and comes home in 5th in a heap of twisted metal there as it sits on the front straightaway.
Yeah, it looked like big. I'm going to give some props here to Kyle Diaz because it looked like once this happened, Kyle actually could have gone right and probably finished ahead of Kevin, but opted to surrender the position and went left and kept himself from taking 5th here. So I am going to give a little bit of props there. He absolutely did not have to do that. I think showing a bit of a competitor's respect to Kevin there, as they were super tight here. I think thinking Berube might have been in grabs or up for grabs for 4th position here. Kevin definitely full send. Stuck the gas pedal down and said it's going to be God, the checkered flag, or that outside wall.
Yeah, I mean, that was every bit of he just kept it floored, and I think you're right. Diaz could have gotten to the outside and got around him, but nonetheless, a little bit of respect there from the 26 to stay behind the 27. But race done and dusted. Now it's time to talk to the man who absolutely dominated the field, getting his 2nd win of the season. It's the 91 machine of Michael Reed. Michael, is Trevor and Justice up in the booth, man. How are you feeling after that dominant performance here tonight?
Man, I feel good. It was finally feels good to get one of these wins out. So yeah, I feel great.
Yeah, 110 laps led. Looked like the best truck all night once you got to that lead. Any concern there with that caution with 25 to go, whatever it was, that maybe somebody's going to get there and give you a challenge?
Yeah, I was just concerned with the whole field bunching back up, having people close to me. It's been a lot of bad luck this season under those circumstances. So, yeah, I was a little nervous about it, but we were able to get a good jump off the restart there and put a little distance on the field.
Well, Michael, you get the win tonight. You set yourself up. One more race left in this short inaugural season. We go to Homestead next week, and then we take a little bit of an off season before we get to season 2. How are you feeling about the season as a whole and the chances that maybe going out and finishing this thing out with a win next week at Homestead?
The season as a whole has been a blast. I can't thank the admin. I know they put in a lot of selfless hours putting this together. Y'all broadcast team taking y'all's time to do this, and y'all do a great job. I'll watch every one of them, and not feeling great about Homestead. That's one of my worst tracks, so we're definitely going to spend some time this week trying to get familiar with it. But yeah, this league is super fun.
Well, Michael, again, congratulations on the win. Good luck next week at Homestead. But before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, again, shout out the league for hosting this and y'all broadcasting it. My Uncle Woody, Aunt Ruth Ann, they usually watch, so if they're watching, shout out to them. And of course, my cousin Jackson, he helps me every race. So,
well, Michael, congratulations, and we will see you next week at Homestead.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Your race winner, the 91 machine of Michael Reed, and we're just going to go straight to it. We're going to get to talk to the 72 machine of Jeremy Burns. Jeremy, we talked to you right before we went back racing there at the green flag. You come home second tonight. Good run for you. Started on pole. You do lose one spot, but how you feeling overall about tonight's performance?
I mean, I felt really good. Really didn't get a whole lot of practice for it. I was out really late until it was almost the drop of the green flag. So getting on pole was nice, and Michael just had more speed than me there. So hats off to them. But overall, was a really good race overall, and we executed on pit road. Got stage points. So did everything that we had to do. Just came up one spot short.
You know, Burns, I got a very interesting picture to me sent today in Facebook Messenger. You think that jacket that you snagged, the old Dale Jr. Bud jacket, had anything to do with getting out here and just putting that thing on pole right off the rip?
I don't know. I definitely felt like we had that super speedway engine in it. What was that engine number? I can't think of the number right now. But yeah, I definitely felt like we had some speed there. It had gripped really nicely in qualifying, but once we got to the race, I felt like for the first 10 laps we were somewhat competitive, and then after that it just fell off a cliff. So I was definitely pushing it a little too hard, but you kind of have to when you're in a situation like that where you're going to lose no matter what. And I would rather try to stick close just in case there's a caution and suffer the consequences later.
Well, Burns, you got one more race left in the season. We go to Homestead next week. The track that has 3 grooves around it. How are you feeling about Homestead, especially with the changes that they've made to the truck and what kind of racing we might expect next week?
I just love Homestead overall. It doesn't matter what you take there, whether it's a Cup, Xfinity, or truck. I mean, I've even seen Gen 4 put on some good race in there and have some passing. So overall, really excited. I love Homestead. I think that's a really good opportunity to showcase the multi-groove racing. And you're also going to see some tire strategy, whether you want to burn them up early or if you want to kind of ride that bottom and save your tires up. But looking forward to it. We're going to unload fast the number 72 Longwood Lancer. Chevy Silverado is going to unload super quick like they do every week, and we're going to be looking forward to it.
Well, Burns, we can't wait to see what you're going to do for us at the season finale. But before we let you out of here, any shout outs you want to give us?
Yeah, I got to shout out my mom and dad, Josie, Dylan, Coach P, Sonny, my grandma, Miss Betsy, Julie, Derek, Caroline, Shan, Belinda, any other supporters of the league, Element X, Chapman Environmental, you guys over here at Revo Racing, and the sponsors of the league, Coastal Financial, Ultimate Exterior Lighting, All About Bugs, and yeah, the admins of the drivers for making it possible. And a huge shout out to Michael Reed there for getting it done.
All right, Burns, congratulations again on the second place finish, and we will see you next week at Homestead.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
We go from our second place finisher. Now it's time to talk to the third place finisher and the points leader, the man that's just kind of Mark Martin in his way through the season. Got a couple wins, but just being Mr. Consistent overall. Caleb, you were kind of just there running about third to sixth all night long. You come home tonight with the third place finish. How you feeling about that performance?
Oh, that was a standard Dover race for me, I would say. Kind of run anywhere from fourth to seventh. Don't make any mistakes and finish where we probably should, plus a couple of spots. So, one of those deals where try to have as consistent of a night as possible. Don't get wrecked is usually the key. Just take care of it and bring it home where it belongs to be finished.
We got to see the old patented Caleb Gilbert lean tonight in the broadcast. So, that was fun to watch. But how many extra tenths does that lean make up when you need it there to pass Alex Berube?
I think it hurts me more than anything. Get a little stiff. It's one of those things where I'm like, you do it, and you get in a long green run, and you're trying to, I'm seeing where the car's going, especially like Dover with the those hills coming out of the turns. I got to make sure that I'm hitting it the right way. So definitely, there's nothing Berube could have done there with the lean, with him getting loose off corner exit. With that little +3 speed going on, he's out of luck.
Yeah, it's just a tough break for the 19 machine. But Caleb, we go Homestead next week, season finale. You go in with the points lead, looking to be the inaugural season champion. How are you feeling about Homestead next week, especially with the kind of the changes that the trucks have received in the latest update?
Yeah, Dover's a weird test for those changes, but I definitely felt something. The tires were really going, and once they went, they were gone, and they kept going. At Richmond, we saw they'd get to a certain point, they'd stop, and you'd run that same lap time for 30, 40, 50 laps. Today, once they went, and then they kept going. So that was a big difference. It's hard to tell if that's just Dover, which we know wears tires like crazy, um, or if that's going to be kind of the new norm. So I'll have to run a couple practice laps. I said I would for tonight. I didn't, but I was able to figure it out enough. Kind of one of those same tracks for me where um, not my greatest, but I'm usually just decent enough. I think I've typically finished like third, fourth, fifth, somewhere in there. One of those tracks where, like Dover, somebody comes out, whoops the field by 5 to 10 seconds. Then there's like me and Burns back there just kind of cruising, doing our thing. So that'll be the same game plan. Just don't wreck, be consistent, try to get some stage points if I can. And hopefully it's good to me.
Caleb, we can't wait to see what's going to happen next week. And if we're talking to you as maybe the inaugural champion of the Coastal Financial Racing Revolution Truck Series. But before I let you out of here, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
Same as always, the team back at the shop. Oh, Mr. Burns, Fike tonight. Fike had a rough one. Burns, we kind of leveled our strategy from the drop of the green. The race kind of went how we thought it would. So good job on those two for knowing what was going on. Always prepared. All of our sponsors, Coastal Financial, Bug Kicker, Chapman Environmental, all about bugs, everything else that goes into it. You guys up in the booth. I know that was one of those ones where you don't get a whole lot of cautions. You don't have maybe too many crazy talking points, but I can't wait to watch it back. I know you guys do a great job.
Well, thank you for the kind words there, Caleb, and we will let you go. And congratulations on the third place finish. We will see you next week at Homestead.
Appreciate y'all, boys.
Third place finisher, Caleb Gilbert there, Justice. And overall of a night, a great night. I believe just 2 on-track incidents, or maybe 3 and 4 total cautions, including the stage break, but a very uneventful Dover race that we had here tonight.
Yeah, these guys came out, put on a good show. A whole lot of green flag racing, man. It's something you love to see around a place like this because you really get to see talent shine. We saw all night Michael Reed. Once he got to the lead, that's where the talent was in the 3 pedals at the bottom of that 91 truck. So very good all night. Very good battles when we needed it. Into the stage, into the race. Michael Reed able to pull away, kind of make things happen, but we see battles elsewhere. It's kind of one of those things you see at Dover, a theme I fully expect to see next week at Homestead. Progressive banking, really worn out surface. The way that it weathers down there in Florida between sand and beach and sunlight and hurricanes and everything else just gives that track a lot of character. You heard Caleb talk about how tires just kind of kept falling off after the plateauing issue that was going on. If that happens next week at Homestead, we're probably going to see 3 seconds, 4 seconds of fall off on the run, on any kind of run there, because they're going to go about 36 laps on fuel. I would expect to see a lot of green flag racing, 5 lanes wide. So these boys are going to put on a heck of a show. It's going to be all about survival next week.
I can't wait for it. We're going to see a lot of multi-groove racing next week at Homestead. And a race that you're not going to want to miss is we are going to crown a champion for the inaugural season of the Coastal Financial Racing Revolution Truck Series next Monday night here on the Revo Racing Network as we go to Homestead. But for us here tonight, for myself, Trevor Earhart, for Justice Murphy and Rob Rader running the production, that's going to be it for us. If you want more, though, Racing Revolution action, tune in Wednesday night to V-Speed as the Cup Series drivers go and tackle the wine country that is Sonoma Raceway for their race on Wednesday night. And then make sure you tune back in Monday night. Championship race, Homestead, Miami, here on the Revo Racing Network. We will see you then.
All About Bugs Tennessee Pest and Termite Control is all about family too. Our family-owned business has successfully been in operation in Sevierville and surrounding areas for almost a decade. Especially during these times, a pest-free home is necessary for a sustainable, disease-free home or business. Our services include residential, rental, commercial, hotel, motel, cabins, you name it. free quotes and inspections for new customers, and most of our services are contract-free. Our All About Bugs Tennessee family is devoted to delivering the best possible pest control service with a friendly smile. Contact us at 865-453-5574 today.
If it's bugging you, you should be bugging us.